We're back. It's June. Joel and Casey. You keep telling me that I look tan. You look tan.
Yeah, I'm a little tan right now.
You spent some time outdoors.
Yeah, just got back from a fishing trip in Canada for a week. That was pretty cool. And then my brother and nephew are in town from Minneapolis for a baseball tournament last weekend.
Nice.
So spent a lot of time at the ball field and, of course, a little pool time too. So
that never hurts either. It's funny, and this will lead us into our discussion this month about adversity, and there'll be more. You'll see, obviously, this online, but more in my newsletter if anyone wants to sign up for that at joelgoldbergmedia.com. But I think that what's interesting, I got a text from you after the Royals won a game earlier this month, a really important game in Cleveland, and you were all fired up about it. And then the next night, they had one of their greatest comebacks of all time, losing 8-0 and winning 10-9. And I didn't hear from you. I'm like, you must be going out of town. And then within a few days after that, everything kind of fell apart and they started playing some of their worst baseball of the year. It's a guarantee for the best teams in baseball that it's going to happen. I think there's something similar in life and in business too. You're never going to get off scot-free without adversity. It's kind of what goes with the territory and sometimes in cycles, right?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, we're dealing with adversity every single day. We're dealing with people that are on the job hunt because maybe they're caught up in a layoff, or their company went out of business, their company's sold. Maybe they're passively starting to look because they don't see eye to eye with their colleagues or their boss, or they see that the financial future, the stability of the company isn't what they're hoping for. And on the flip side, we're dealing with clients all the time that need to hire because they have a void, and that creates major issues for them too. They're doing the work of 2 or 3 or 4 people, so they need us around to help with the adversity. But I feel like everyone that I talk to that's really in a down spot in their career uses that as a springboard. Let's face it, we've all had bad bosses. Most of us have been fired from a job at one point in time, and it's how you bounce back from it. Just like a slump in baseball, it's 162 games long. Your career's however many years long, and it's not going to be smooth sailing all the time. But how do you come back from it?
It's interesting. You're going to really like this story, and I want to share it with everybody because I think it paints a great picture. Salvador Perez, who, I think when all is said and done, when he retires, he'll be the second greatest Royal of all time until Bobby Witt Jr. retires, and then maybe he'll get bounced to third. He would say that as well. But he's been at this so long. I've covered him longer than any athlete in my career, and he had such a great start to the year, his best start ever, sure. And that's saying a lot. And then he got cold in June, and up until about a day before you and I are recording this, only had 1 home run, was really struggling. And I remember talking to his hitting coach, and his hitting coach said he'll stick with it. He knows what works. Young guys are watching him not panic. So we're in Texas about third week of June, and he goes 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. And I'm on the bus. I know I could share this story. He'd be okay with it, but I'm on the bus back with the team to the hotel, and I'm in the second row, and he sits in the front row on the bus that I'm on, which he usually does. And I'm talking to my family at home, and I'm like, hey, let me call you guys back. I didn't want to be disrespectful. They had just lost another game. He's 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. I put on my AirPods, going to just mind my own business. I'm listening to some music. We're not 30 seconds in, bus pulls out, and I feel it poking at me. And it's Salvi turning around from the front. There's a future Hall of Famer. He goes, hey, Joel, I pull up my AirPods. Hey, when's the last time I struck out 4 times? And I say, I was trying to avoid the discussion. And he goes, why? It's just part of the game. It's just the way it goes. Tomorrow's a new day. And I thought, I think he's trying to send me a message that he and the team is okay. Not only that, but there was a young player next to him on the other side across the aisle that I'm sure was paying attention to this. There's something to be said about understanding how to handle adversity. And it's not that easy, but it comes with experience. I guess that's my point, and I'm curious your thought on that, because you see people that can get out of their game all the time. It's desperate situations sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the first things I learned when I got in this business was don't let the highs be too high and don't let the lows be too low. We could all use a little bit of a Salvi's influence on us because there's going to be things that happen negatively. If you're out there gloating and parading around every time you hit a home run, you probably got a bunch of strikeouts to follow up with. Or if you have several strikeouts, you don't let it get you down too much, you stay the course, you're going to get on base soon. We deal with it every time. Whenever I've got new employees, that's one of the hardest things to train them on is you're going to have stuff fall apart. There's going to be deals that don't go the way you want them to. And you can either, mope and pout and whine about it and think, oh, poor me, it should have been, or you can use that as a motivator. Honestly, there's times where I actually look forward to something falling apart because it's a reset button for all of us. If it's all easy, you get in coast mode. And quite frankly, that's when it sneaks up on you. And then you're really screwed because you haven't been doing taking the right steps to get to that next level. And you need a wake-up call every once in a while.
I love that. I'll just wrap this up by saying I was watching an interview last night. This was the night of the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7. I didn't get to watch much because I was working a Royals game, a game that they actually ended a drought themselves. I was watching an interview with their head coach, Paul Maurice, and he was asked by Scott Van Pelt on ESPN if he was just waiting for that time to tick down, so close to winning that championship, and you've worked so hard. They had won the first 3 games, lost the next 3, and he said, I'm glad we lost those 3 games. It forced us to face this adversity. And no, I did not want our guys to try to count down that clock. I wanted them to embrace the moment. We worked too hard to be here. Live in the moment. That reminds me of what Matt Quatraro of the Royals says. It's all about today. And I think ultimately that's really true about life.
Absolutely. No, that's great. It was a great game. It was cool seeing them up 3-0, then tied 3-3, and then a 1-goal game yesterday. I'm not as big of an NHL fan as you are, but I was certainly intrigued by that one last night.
I'm jealous that you got to watch more of it than me, but I had a baseball game, which ended up being a good one as well. These are great lessons about adversity. Reach out to Casey and all of his people at Chief of Staff if you want any help at all. They're such a great resource, and we'll come up with a new topic and do something again next month. Never an issue for you and I, tying sports into the real world. Casey, thanks, and we'll see everybody soon.
All right, thanks, Joel.